That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gladys Knight and her many pips there. Speaking of unusually named bands, we have Sparks with us, ladies and gentlemen. Ron and Russell Mail, two brothers. Two brothers emerging from the same womb. Blinking in
What
the
a
daylight.
gimmick.
Crawling, one born with a moustache. The other as naked and as slippery as an otter. And they crawled newborn towards a mic stand and keyboards and created majesty from their very first moment on the planet. Is this a fair assessment of your humble beginnings?
Very accurate. Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you.
So poetic.
Well, I'm overwhelmed to see you again because I'm a huge fan, and it's lovely.
Thanks so much.
Thank
We're
you
happy
very
to be here.
much. It's been one more since we've seen you last.
It's
so.
been too long. How are you both? You both look very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
Good. You haven't come down. There's a flu bug type virus going around here.
We've had it about 6 or 7 times each in the past 2 days.
I've been through 6 antibiotics since.
It's not good,
weeks.
is it? It's
No,
not good.
no.
And as we get older, and let's face it, we are all now crawling towards the grave.
Crawling.
We must try and look after ourselves a little bit
That's
more.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you for making the studio wheelchair accessible.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's-
They've come in already, they've parked their Zimmer frames, and now they've lowered themselves into...
And it's great that you have the Botox department,
Now,
on floor 1.
Now, you do look a bit surprised, but you always have done. You're not Botoxed up, are you?
Come on.
Come on. Now, you see, he immediately went for the Botox reference.
If I could afford it.
Now, you're touring again, or you're gigging. It's not really a full-blown tour, is it, at the moment?
It's a mini-blown tour.
Mini-blown.
Yeah, we're playing at Ocean in Hackney tonight and tomorrow night, and then we're playing some shows on the continent, and then we're going back playing shows in LA and San Francisco.
I've never been to Ocean, the gig in Hackney, but people have told me that it's a really lovely venue.
That's what we've heard as well. We haven't seen it, but we've been told the same.
What's the difference for you in terms of what makes a good venue and a bad venue?
If people scream and rave and rant over us, it's a good venue.
But regardless of the crowd, are there kind of things in the actual physical layout of the building, the structure, the comfort zones that you're given? I mean, what makes a good place to play?
Well, in the past, we preferred places where people stood up. We never wanted people to sit down. But then we played this one concert in Sweden that was traditional and very much like playing an Italian opera house, and everybody was seated, and the reaction was good there. So we kind of have changed in that regard as well.
You see, as you get older as well, you don't want to stand up so much during a gig.
But we're hoping that the geriatric crowd won't totally be there tonight.
But you see, but you both stand up the gig, obviously.
Oh, us.
Because,
us. Yeah, well, we have 2 seats flown in from America.
Ron's always sitting down on keyboards, anyway, aren't you? You've got that going.
Well, I've kind of bucked the trend, and now I stand up more than I used to.
Is that just to show how youthful you are?
I'm trying to kind of just show that I'm not like I used to be.
Okay, and Russell, you're running around all over the place.
Yes, that's what I do.
Who's on drums for you now?
We have a lovely female drummer named Tammy Glover.
I'm all for female percussionists.
So are we. Who isn't?
However, I do miss the fact that many years ago you were accompanied always by the wonderfully named Dinky Diamond.
That's right.
Dinky Diamond on drums. They don't make drummers' names like that anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
No,
They don't.
Tammy Glover.
Yeah, it's not quite.
Yeah.
Where is Dinky now? Do we know?
We don't know.
If Dinky's listening, or anyone out there has knowledge of Dinky's whereabouts, or indeed if Dinky has now changed his name or indeed gender and is operating... See, possibly Dinky's become a female now. And
it's possible. We could rehire him.
Be welcomed back into the drumming fold.
Yeah.
And the new album has done very well, I know. I mean, it's certainly critically it's done fantastically well. I don't know what sort of volume you guys sell anymore, but I know it was tremendously well received over here.
Yeah, it's... critically, just all over the world, it's been about the best received album critically, like you say, that we've ever had. And we're so passionate about the album that we actually decided to come out with a deluxe version, a new edition of it on Monday, because the critical acclaim and the sales department haven't yet coincided.
They haven't yet tallied. Right.
So we wanted to give it one more attempt because we're just so proud of this album. So there's going to be the videos on the album and a couple other visual things, a couple of bonus tracks.
That's great to be able to play around with that now with the new technology. I mean, when you release a CDD, the fact you can put it in your computer and you can see stuff and you have access and you're steered towards websites, that must be a joy, I would have thought.
Yeah, and hopefully it's the only way to prevent to keep the music industry as a music industry, so that it's harder to download videos and things like that. Then obviously you can steal those too, but the copying problem is a problem.
Is it a worry for people like you making it? Because presumably,
well, it is. We were with a record company lately, and we were told audio is dead. So that gave us kind of some clue as to sort of the
Audio
general
is
state.
dead.
Yeah, didn't you hear?
Audio is dead.
Yeah, haven't you heard?
But 10 years ago, they said print was dead, and we're still reading.
Well, yeah, but you're a late kind of. That'll get to you as well. So.
Audio is dead.
Yeah, it
that
is.
doesn't bode well for the radio business either.
No.
You know, we might as well just shut up shop and go home.
Yeah, well, we were told by a reliable source. So.
And what was the track I chose off Lil Beethoven to play
You've
today?
chosen Ride 'em Cowboy.
I wanted to play Ride 'em Cowboy because I thought that was more immediate than some of the stuff on the album. It's not in any way hard to get to terms with, but some of it is kind of like less like the Sparks we remember and more the Sparks today, and I wanted to find something that bridged the gap. Would you approve of that choice, gentlemen?
That's a bridging the gap. There.
Okay, it's a great track. This is from Sparks' current album. If you were a Sparks fan back then, or even if you never were a Sparks fan, and let's face it, there must be millions of you out there who possibly loathed Sparks, now's the time to jump on board and embrace them.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. Go out today, buy yourself a copy of Lil Beethoven. It's fabulous, and this is Ride 'em Cowboy. That's Sparks from Lil Beethoven, and that's Ride 'em Cowboy. I love the way that builds. There's a lot of stuff in the album like that where it just kind of starts and then there's layers and layers and it grows and twists on itself and all that stuff.
Yeah, we did about 50,000 of me singing on top of me, and a lot of Ron adding strings, and yeah.
Because we established last time that Ron's the talent in the band.
We did,
really.
that's right, I forgot about that.
And that was long ago established.
But I noticed that Russell immediately starts talking about his contribution. And
It's not just a pretty face.
No. That was why the Botox conversation came up from his end.
He's
So
worried about
felt
that.
I had to contribute in some way, so my small contribution helping out in the Botox industry.
We've got to go to the news. When we come back, we'll finally settle this, I think. 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC. Well, I suppose that's okay. What a great track that is. Lou Reed from way back when. We have some gentlemen with us who've produced more than their fair share of great tracks as well. Sparks, Ron and Russell Mail. We've been talking about your new album, Lil Beethoven.
Yes.
I've been talking about some of your other stuff as well while that was on to you. And I'd forgotten, of course, you did have a period where you worked with the great Giorgio Moroder. He was sort of a disco producer, but that's diminishing his contribution.
It is, yeah. We during the 70s, we had worked within a band format for a while, and we kind of thought we'd gone as far as we could go with that approach, and we heard I Feel Love that Giorgio Moroder produced.
What a track that was.
It was unbelievable, Donna Summer track. And we really loved the fact that it was kind of a cold, dramatic kind of sound, but with really a warm vocal, and we thought that was an approach that might apply to Sparks in some kind of way, and we approached Giorgio, and he was eager to work with us. He had, at that time, was searching for a band, and he wanted to work in the same kind of way. So we had never worked with electronics at all, and so that was 1979, and it was our first use of electronics.
But it's strange, because I thought you'd worked with the electronics before. I thought that was the kind of thing you did, Ron, in the band. I thought it was a kind of a synth, moogie vibe that you had going on there.
No, all I had before that was just an RMI piano with an Echoplex to try to make it sound decent, and that was my electronics up to that period. So.
I like listening to sort of the early stumbling towards electronic music, though, because now it seems you can do too much. I mean, you can get a cheap keyboard from Toys R Us almost, and it's got 4,000 sounds on it.
Exactly.
Back then, it was hard to get that sort of stuff.
Exactly, yeah, and the room that we did the Number One in Heaven song. I mean, it was like the space center as far as the equipment, and it was also why we never toured at the time with the Number One in Heaven album. It was just impossible to play that material live. So.
Do you kind of like feel an affinity to bands like Yellow and groups like that who are kind of have intelligent, quite strange lyrics and obviously put a lot of thought into their production as well?
In a way, but we also feel more of a pop sensibility, and in a way, I think, speaking of Botox, we try to have sort of like a younger appeal in a certain way. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of trying to play it all kinds of different ways. I mean, there's a certain art kind of appeal to what we do, but we really try to have a basic pop appeal at the same time, and kind of the kind of the competing kind of strains of those are kind of what makes Sparks what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you still embrace pop, that you didn't think, you didn't sort of grow out of pop.
No, and in fact, I think one of the reasons why Lil Beethoven turned out to be the way it was is just kind of our anger at the state of pop music today. We really think that there's such lack of ambition in bands, in pop music, and we have great respect for pop music. We don't think that it's a lesser form of music. I mean, I'm a great jazz fan. I love classical music, pop music, though, isn't an inferior form of any of those things, and I don't think that pop bands are really pushing pop music to be what it can be. And so, in our modest way, we really thought with Lil Beethoven that we were going to try to push it as far as it could be pushed, but still be pop music.
But do you think there are many pop bands left? Because it strikes me that a lot of the music we have, pop music, and there's some very good pop music out there, I think, but a lot of it's written by teams of writers for specific stars like Kylie and people like that, then produced by teams that work just to get hits for people, as opposed to groups of youngsters who get together now and say, we want to be a pop band.
Well, there's that, but the other side of it is I think even the bands that have the autonomy to do whatever they want don't seem to be doing enough. And so it's kind of both of those things.
Who do you like listening to? What sort of music do you actually like in terms of pop in particular?
Well, I to be honest, I've always been song orientated, but there aren't a whole lot of songs that I like now. So I'm kind of more listening to hip hop things, and I like Outkast and those sorts of things, and so it's more the sound of things that I respond to rather than the song kind of aspect of it.
Where do you tour? Where do you kind of go down best when you tour? I know that the gigs over here did very well last time, but what parts of the world now do they really embrace the kind of spark sound?
Oh, we played in Central Park in New York several months back, and it was just an amazing reception. We did Lil Beethoven for the first time in the States, and we do it from song 1 to song 9, the entire album as the first half of the show, and no one had heard the album yet. It had just barely come out, been released at that point, and we were just so happy. The reception in New York, we hadn't played there in a while, and they're willing to embrace just sitting through 9 songs that were of this nature and that they hadn't heard before as well. So it's gone down really well in the States now, and it's just there's sort of been a reassessment of Sparks' position in the whole pop hierarchy, and it's been really just it's been really heartwarming for us.
Is that the way you like to perform it? You like to play it in the sequence that it's on the album, as though it's like the album experience?
Well, this album in particular is something that seems of a piece. It's not really a collection of songs. It's more a work. I mean, it makes it sound pretentious, but we really see it as it isn't a concept album as far as a narrative concept album, but it's a concept album as far as some sort of musical kind of theme, and so it really needs to be kind of stuck together as one thing.
Kind of brave of you, seeing as audio's dead.
That's right. Well,
the whole sound thing. I love going to see people, though. It's only a recent thing I discovered where you go and see a band or a performer you like and they do an album in the sequence, because inevitably, if it was something you cherish and loved, you listen to it in that order. Bowie, when he had Heathen out, he brought Heathen out and he did the Heathen album in its entirety. Then there was a break, then came back and did Low in the order you listened to. And I just saw Brian Wilson recently doing Smile, which was kind of different because that had never existed.
Right.
In the form he intended it, but it was something really lovely about hearing it in that way and realising at some stage that artist thought that's the order they should go in. That's the order I want them to be listened to in.
No, exactly. That's exactly how we feel about this album, and yeah.
What do you do? What do you do, guys, to unwind now that you're getting very, very old? When you're on tour, presumably the normal pursuits of a band on tour.
Shuffleboard.
Yeah, it's like a cruise.
Chess is great.
Cribbage.
Backstage rider involving what is it? Just kind of like warm blankets.
Warm blankets, milk, hot milk, preferably. A lot of times we've gotten this cold milk backstage, and man, I think it's heads fall.
But you must have to look up. I mean, we're joking about these things, but presumably your health is paramount. Not so much.
I do a lot of exercise. I do spinning. Spinning, I'm sure, is happening. The stationary bike riding. And little known fact, one of my riding he's not my partner, as it were, but a fellow member of the gym I go to spinning. It's seeing Steve Jones, a Sex Pistol, spinning with me. Somehow it's okay if I spin, but I don't know. The revolution is over, I think.
Well, that's the terrible thing about the whole punk legacy is it's hard for punks to be integrated back into normal society. There should be like a witness protection program for former punks so they can take on a new identity and not have to carry around the spirit of 1976 with them still.
But he's a great guy.
I believe we have Dinky Diamond Sister somewhere. Dinky Diamond's sister called. No, she's gone, but we know Dinky is alive and well. He may or may not be doing music. Many of us would dispute that drumming ever was music. It's more of a kind of back to the music, isn't it? But it's nice to know Dinky's still with us.
That's great to hear.
I'm delighted.
No,
do you guys tend to keep in touch with people you used to work with, or do you just...
Never.
we just like sever things. Once it's over, it's over.
Well, I think that's quite a wise way to be.
It is.
Let's have another track and we'll chat some more to Ron and Russell after this. What's this, Andy?
Bit of Bella Sebastian.
Lovely. That's rather lovely. Bella and Sebastian. What was the name of the track?
Step Into My Office, Baby.
They're a good new band.
They are.
Let's talk about Ron and Russell before we play a track which I'm very keen to get to in a minute. Ron, you still collect shoes?
I do, yeah, Air Jordans.
Air Jordans, only Air Jordans?
Only Air Jordans.
Now, Air Jordans, I don't know if we even have Air Jordans over here.
Well, you probably do, but it's just more built around the mystique of Michael Jordan. And so from 1984 when he first came into the NBA.
And this is basketball we're talking
basketball,
about.
Yes.
Which is a game we don't really have over here.
Yes, you know. It's a very tall man throwing a small ball through a hoop.
I find it hard to get excited about basketball, apart from the Harlem Globetrotters, who were the greatest basketball team in the world.
They were good. We've seen them too.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
But
were they really good, or was it fake good? Because I was surprised they didn't win everything.
They made it more of a theatrical kind of a thing.
That's what you want.
They always played against the Washington Bullets, which didn't exist and was a made-up team that was so horrible that they couldn't help but look good each night.
Meadowlark, that was one, wasn't it?
Meadowlark Lemon.
Yeah. They had a record of 937 to 0.
Yeah, you see, that's a great record. Not many teams can boast that.
No.
And are you still a fan of basketball itself? Or
I am.
Just the shoes?
Yeah. Well, the shoes and the sport as well. So I like the combination of fashion and sport. I'm fascinated by that.
How many shoes are we talking about now?
About 90.
See, that's not healthy.
It isn't?
Do you wear the shoes?
Wear them. Come on.
You see, that's why it's not healthy.
I'm a connoisseur.
See, I have a large collection of obscure toys, but I get them out of the boxes and play with them.
You play with your...
Yeah, because otherwise...
What if you wreck them?
Otherwise, they get sad. Have you not seen Toy Story 2? If you leave them in the box, they cry.
Really?
So you have to get them out occasionally.
So my Air Jordans are crying at this moment?
I don't know if shoes cry the same way as toys cry, but certainly they're feeling like they'd like a foot inside them.
Oh, my. Well, the first thing when I go back to the States, I'm taking those things out and slipping them on.
Do you buy them in your size?
I actually, this is really sick, but I buy them in Michael Jordan's size.
And Russell, are you not at all concerned about this?
Well, it's a little bit sad, yeah. But I humor him.
That's kind of. And have you ever met Mr. Jordan?
I never have. He's pretty well protected
from people like you,
from people like
who
me,
collect his shoes in his size.
Yes.
But would you like to meet him? Are you actually?
I would. Yes. No. He's my idol.
I wish we could now say, well, here for you, we have him. We brought him in. We hadn't put that much planning into it.
Well, there were quite a few strange people hanging out front asking for autographs, and I was looking to see if there was one that was 6'6".
And I would have thought, Ron, you know a strange person when you see one, having just discovered what we do about your collection. Russell, you have any collection we could share here?
What do I collect? Oh, I have just boring collections compared to that. You know, the little tilt pens from every city in the world.
That's understandable. That's a souvenir.
That's a souvenir, but I'm kind of getting off. I'm scaling back. I'm downsizing.
Let me then. Are you someone then who lives more in the moment, and do you think that you are getting more out of life than your brother?
Yeah, I get much more out of life than my brother.
I suspect so. I suspect people like us.
He's not having a good time.
See, Ron, we don't get as much out of life because we just want to own these little things, and they don't. Ron, they don't fill the emotional void within.
They don't. I know.
That's what you're buying them for, isn't it?
And I've noticed the more that I buy, the sadder I get.
And the more you need.
That's very true.
I'm starting a little anonymous organisation where we can get together and talk about this kind of thing.
Good.
I'd like to give you a call if that's okay.
All right, yes. Yeah.
I'd like you to be our president. It's so lovely to see you both again. Good luck with the gigs tonight. I'm sure you don't need them. You've gone one tonight, one tomorrow night in London. Yeah. And then where are you off to next, did you say?
Then we're playing in Stockholm and then some other, back to the States.
European places and then off to the States. Well, when you come back over next time, not only would I love you to play here live if you can for us, but also I can't come and see you this weekend. I'm kind of gutted about that, but I will definitely come and see you next time, so I'm keen as mustard to see you live.
Great.
Great to see you again. We're going to play this one track before you go. This isn't a Spark song. We might play another track later on from the fellas, but this is a wonderful track by Loretta Lynn that I think you will enjoy, singing about that newfangled invention, the pill. There you go. That was Loretta Lynn, back presumably from the 70s.
I would have thought so. I don't think it's a couple of years old.
That was on the jukebox at the shop Sex, which later became Seditionaries, which kind of helped form and ferment the punk rock rebellion of the mid to late 70s. Ron and Russell are still with us. They're just leaving now. Guys, how lovely to see you again. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a great gig tonight.
Thank you.
You were so respectfully not speaking because that part of the interview was over.
Thank you.
I said, we've had what we want. Go now. Yeah.
I've got to go.
And the album's out on Monday. The deluxe edition.
The special edition of Lil Beethoven, the deluxe edition from Sparks is out on Monday. Get yourself a copy. It's fantastic.